And it's the seller who says, listen, I'd love to sell. Where am I going to go? I don't have anywhere to go. So this is how we're structuring almost every single listing with what is called a reverse contingency. So let me explain how you structure this. So you are going to, everyone, I think, well, unless you're a brand new agent, you may not know this, but everyone, I think, is pretty comfortable with, when working with a buyer, submitting an offer that is contingent on the buyer having to sell their home first. I think every single one of you has probably written an offer like that. This is the exact opposite of that when you represent a seller, and we're listing, like I said, almost, not everyone, but almost every listing that I sell right now, and it has been this way for the entire year. I have to structure this way because every seller is concerned with, where do I go? I'm not so concerned with selling, but I'm very concerned with, where do I go next? Because there's a lack of homes on the market. So Oscar and everybody else, we do what is called a reverse contingency. And here's how it works. We list the home on the open market and we accept an offer contingent on the seller finding a home. So in the agent remarks, in an addendum to the purchase contract, you list the home as normal. That's step number one. We're going to list it as normal. In the agent remarks, when agents are showing your listing, getting ready to submit an offer, we want to let that buyer's agent know that, hey, this listing, this seller, they're accepting the offer contingent on them finding a property. So most of the time, we are getting 30 to 45 days upon acceptance of the offer for the seller to go out there, shop for a home, and get their property, the new house, under contract. So now, Oscar, stay with me because I know a lot of people get confused with this. Instead of the seller that everyone is dealing with right now saying, yeah, Oscar, I'd love to sell, but I don't know where to go. Let's go shop for homes first. What is the problem with them shopping for homes first? They have to write a contingent offer. The seller says, no, we don't want to look at a contingent offer. Call us back when your house is sold. Well, this is the thing that you do so that your seller can shop for a house with confidence, knowing that their home is sold, knowing they have an offer, and knowing how much their home is going to sell for. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
All right. So we list the home as you normally would. You accept an offer under the expectation with a contract, with an addendum, a contingency contract that states the seller has 30 to 45 days to get a house under contract that they want to purchase. Now, the buyer can still, during that 30 to 45 day period when the seller's shopping for a home, they can still get their home inspection done. They can even get their appraisal done because the seller, once they accept an offer, Oscar, here's the best part about this strategy. The seller's motivation to buy something goes through the roof once they know their home is sold. And that's another reason why this is working so well in this market. And again, we're having to do it probably on, I don't know, Jen might know better than me, but probably 75% of the time, we're having to sell homes this way. So let me just make sure that that makes sense to you and open this up for some questions for you to clarify anything.
Yeah, so I guess my follow-up question to that, I mean, it's a great strategy, but I guess what's the likelihood of that happening? Because buyers in today's market are having to look for 5 months until they get an offer accepted, just because it's so difficult for a buyer. It's very difficult right now to be a buyer's agent. So yeah, what's the likelihood of that working in today's market?
Which part? Because every closing that I'm having, 75% likelihood.
Okay, because I guess if we put the property, let's say I have a listing, if we put that property under contract, if we accept an offer, what's the likelihood, I guess, of finding another home for the buyer, I mean, for the seller, for my client, in the next 30, 45 days and getting an offer accepted on that house.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, it's very likely because here's what's happening. Let me put something in perspective. This year, Oscar, do you know how many homes will sell this year?
No.
All right. Let me give you the number. The number is going to be right around 6 million. Do you know how many homes sold in 2008? Like the worst real estate market in the world has ever seen?
No.
Like 5.5 million.
Okay.
So let me explain what that means for all of us. That means that all 6 million homes that sell had to have a seller and a buyer. There was 6 million sellers, 6 million buyers, 12 million opportunities to get paid. The reason why most the point is this, I'll just kind of cut through all of it. The point is a very motivated buyer, you can find a house. You really, really can, because I think what's happening is buyers, sometimes motivation isn't that high. So it's like they're picking the cream of the crop property, like the best one. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 that work. They're picking the best one and then making us believe like this is the only one. But if you really focus with that seller who's looking to purchase, you can find a house for them for sure. I mean, you really, really can. You can update yourself on the daily listings that the buyer's getting and literally call them daily as a part of your follow-up to say, all right, there's 3 more that hit just today. There's 3 more that hit today. There's 2 that hit today. There's 1 that hit today. Stay on top of it. And you'll find that like, wow, there's actually more opportunity for buyers than I thought. That's number 1. Number 2, what I even like better is leveraging that buyer, Oscar, for additional business. So watch this. What we're also doing, so we list the property the way we just talked about. Then we get the seller's wants and needs to purchase a home. And then we go circle prospect in the neighborhoods where they want to live. And we find the house. Screw the MLS. Let's just go direct to the owner, because now I'm finding additional listing opportunities, leveraging my buyer who has a house that I have listed. That brings the whole thing full circle, because I'm telling you, have you ever circle prospected with a buyer?
No, not with a buyer. With the seller, I'm doing it right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it changes the entire game. Just change your mindset for a second. Could you imagine how easy it would to set appointments with FSBOs if you had the actual buyer for their house? Well, it's the same thing with circle prospecting. If you have an actual buyer for a home, it makes what we do very, very easy. And you know what they're approved for. You know exactly what they're looking for. You create a list in Vulcan 7 or whatever lead system you're using, and you're calling those 50, 60, 70 homeowners saying, hey, I'm working with Christine Jones and her husband. They're looking to buy in Steam Meadows. They want a 2-bedroom colonial, 3,200 square feet, just like yours. They're approved up to $625,000. They want a finished walkout basement, just like you have. You know, would you be open to selling the home in this market right now? That conversation, very different than calling without a buyer in mind.
Right. Okay. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah. So all of those strategies combined, I think, will serve you to serve the seller and also help you generate more business along the way.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And just as a side note, really quick, I have in the Facebook group, if you just search reverse contingency, I have the MLS remarks and the actual addendum that you guys can take word for word, essentially.
Yeah, that's perfect, Jen. Thank you. I was just going to say, if you guys need help with wording, we've got that for you guys.
All right. Thanks.
No problem. I think Christine has a question on this, Jen.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Oscar, because I have this exact situation. It was actually a guy I was prospecting from old expireds from back in May 2020. And when I first reached out to him, he said, no, he wasn't really interested. But then he contacted me last week and he said, well, what do you think I can get for my house? So I did the CMA, but he said, I don't have anywhere to go. So, what am I supposed to do? And I offered to start taking him out to look at stuff, but I wasn't really familiar with this reverse prospecting option. So, I'll look up what's online to get a more clear understanding of everything, I guess, because now I can go back to him and offer this option, but I just want to be clear I understand everything.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, Christine, don't mute yourself. Stay with me here. Yeah, this strategy, we talk a lot about in this group, Christine, week in and week out about like becoming the expert, right? You've heard me say that thousands of times. Now, most people just hear the words. But what I mean by that is like specific, valuable strategies that help people. This is one of those examples. Going to a seller who wants to move and providing a solution to their problem versus the competition that are just like order takers. Because I'm telling you what, the biggest waste of time is taking buyers out right now, showing them property when they have homes to sell. You guys are all doing it backwards. It's never going to work because all of you would agree with the following statement. If you were the seller in today's market or you had a listing in today's market, what are the likelihoods of a seller even considering an offer that is contingent on the buyer selling their home?
Wait, so repeat that.
If you listed a house today,
right?
What's the likelihood of your seller even considering an offer from a buyer who has to sell their house first? What is the
minimal?
Minimal. Yeah. So I would agree. And so would the other 70 agents on this call. But every day we're showing houses to buyers with houses to sell without having their homes on the market. It doesn't make any sense. So Christine, what we have to do is we have to take that person's home. We have to list the home first, get it under contract under a reverse contingency. And to clarify this with you, have you ever wrote an offer contingent with the buyer's home having to sell first?
I've only written one offer before, so no. But okay. I would understand the premise.
All right, this is the exact opposite of that. This is us listing the home contingent on the seller finding a home. It's the exact just opposite of it. So you can list the home as normal, show the home as normal, do everything normal process. When Randy Fleming writes you an offer, you have a conversation with Randy to say, hey, Randy, just want to let you know, this listing is contingent. Your offer is contingent on the seller having to find somewhere to live. So we're asking for 30 days for the seller to find somewhere to live.
Yeah.
If they do, we'll go under contract. If they don't, then the offer is subject to that happening. If it doesn't happen, the seller has the right to walk away from the deal, right? So you're protecting the seller, and then the buyer takes a little bit of a gamble, risk, whatever you want to call it. Most buyers are saying, okay, we'll give the seller that time because let's face it, to compete for homes, there's not a lot of homes. So that's another reason that I forgot to tell Oscar why it works, because the buyers are like, well, damn, like if we want the house, then we'll give you 30 days. No problem. Go search for a home. We'll give you that 30 days.
Yeah. Okay. 75%.
I mean, a lot, because I mean, you almost have to, because there's not a lot of sellers. I can't even think of any. I mean, I can't think of any reason why a seller would even consider a contingent offer in this market. So that's why you almost have to do this with people that want to move. Otherwise, they got no chance at getting their offer accepted.
Yeah.
If they have a house to sell first, which is,
it seems like this would only work in this market, right?
That's right.
It wouldn't work very well in a buyer's market.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It wouldn't work at all. Yeah, exactly right.